So it's time for me to continue my complicated relationship with D'Angelo Russell, aka I critique his game, some people get mad, and then he continues to not know that I exist. So, the 2017 season, or excuse me, the 2018 season, was kind of rough for Russell, and I'll give him a benefit of the doubt of he did miss a lot of time because of injury, and while I don't think his first 7 or 8 games were perfect, I feel like they were pretty intriguing. And another thing that I'm going to give him before I start going a bit negative here, I do think if you look at this entire Brooklyn Nets team, I think Russell has the highest ceiling of anybody here, okay? And he probably has the most talent as well. When you look at his size, his ball handling ability, combined with the shooting that he has shown up to this point in his career, with his confidence, which I do think matters, combined with times when you see him deliver some really, really awesome passes to big guys and pick and rolls, and there are times when he can read the defense and play the game at his own pace, and he gets the defender on his back, and he's got a bit of a Paul Pierce-ness to him where no matter how slow he's going, he's always in control. But then there are other times when it's pretty rough. But I recognize the allure with D'Angelo Russell, okay? I just don't think the on-court product has really lived up to what it should have at this point. So let's go into it. He was not good from 3 in 2018. He shot under league average from out there. Catch and shoot threes, he was a little bit below where you would expect, and then whenever he was being defended by someone, it wasn't good. And that was surprising to me because amongst all the negative things I can say about the guy and have said about the guy, I've always given him credit for the outside shot. Okay, 35% on like 6 attempts a game, which was like the norm for him, is pretty damn good. And that wasn't the case this previous season. And again, I'm sure the injury had something to do with this. So you would hope that going into this next season that's just going to be better, right? And I would hope it could be because with Kenny Atkinson's offense, with so much ball movement, especially for the guards, Russell's going to get himself a lot of open looks where he can flow within the offense and move off ball and all that, and I think that will be better for him going into this season, but it is still a little bit of a fear. I did not expect to see his outside jumper struggle as much as it did, and in the beginning of the season as well, when he had maybe his best moments of the year, it still wasn't good even then. Next, if we get to another area of his game that I was not as surprised to see him doing last year, it's those 10-foot jump shots. Boy, does he love those things. Sometimes they're pull-ups where he gets the defender on his back in the pick and roll, which again, that is an impressive thing to do, but it's this thing where I feel like he's not athletic enough to finish over every big guy or get through every big guy. And so as a result, he goes to a floater. Sometimes it's a little jump shot, and sometimes it goes in. I'm not acting like he never makes it, but it's just such an inefficient shot, and it's a big reason why he's never been even close to shooting a decent field goal percentage. He hasn't mastered the floater game, and as a result, it just coughs up a lot of possessions, you know? And you would hope that he just simply doesn't do it as much, or he just becomes great at it. Who knows? The next thing is the turnovers were still rough for him. About 3 turnovers a game for 5 assists. Not exactly pretty, not exactly warranting his usage rate, which went up this season. Now, to his credit, his assist percentage went up this year as well. Again, I think he can execute passes. I think his problem is reading defenses and anticipating things and noticing when a teammate of his is open the moment that they are open and not finding it like a second too late. These are all the things that I think Kenny Atkinson and this offense can really help him with. And again, the fact that he was out like half the season, that's going to hurt you. But it is what it is, you know? Now, for this upcoming season, could I expect him to improve on it a bit? Yeah, I think Russell is willing to improve on these things. I don't think he's like a tone-deaf kind of NBA player. I do think he recognizes the things that he needs to work on. And I think he enjoys playing within the Nets system. If we can go to his defense, it still is what it is. His lack of athleticism is a thing. And I think when you combine all these things, it probably explains why Russell was towards the bottom of the Nets in terms of net rating, minus 7.1, which the only players worse than him were Jeremy Lin, who played 1 game, Sean Kilpatrick, and Jaleel Okafor. So, yeah. The next thing we got to look at, though, with Russell is his competition. Spencer Dinwiddie was legit last season for Brooklyn. In contrast, his net rating still negative, but -2.5, way closer to average than D'Angelo. Now, Dinwiddie's not perfect, okay? He really can't shoot either. I shouldn't say either. Russell's a better shooter than Dinwiddie is. His efficiency overall has been a problem in terms of being a scorer, but because he's such a good playmaker and he's so smart and he barely ever turns the ball over for how much offense he was asked to run for them, it still comes out to being a positive for Brooklyn, and there's a chance that Dinwiddie will just end up being a better player than Russell. Sure, he might not be as exciting, he might be the more boring guy, but he's got a lot of like Thomas Satoransky in Washington, where sure, maybe it isn't always the most exciting thing, but it leads to efficient basketball. And so, to put it bluntly, the Nets were a far better team when D'Angelo Russell was not in the game last season. But again, I look at all these guys, the Allen Crabs, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, DeMarre Carroll. I don't think any of these guys have the ceiling that D'Angelo Russell has, so it makes sense to still put him out there. But we can go to Karis LeVert now, a player that I have been very positive of, because I love the fact that he's like 6'6", 6'7", and he shows a real knack for going off the dribble and making plays for other guys. Now, he needs to sharpen up on that handle. I mean, if he's facing a good defender, then he's going to get stripped or he's going to get slowed down or whatever. He's not perfect, but that is still another guy that could get in the way of Dinwiddie, or excuse me, of D'Angelo Russell, where he's just pretty good, and you combine that with his tall frame, and he's a decent athlete. Not jump out of the gym, but pretty good. I think he checks out as maybe being a better defender than D'Angelo as well. Maybe not right now. I don't think he's that great at this moment, but moving forward and all that. So, yeah. Definitely a mixed bag for D'Angelo Russell in the 2018 season, but I do think he should be starting for these guys, probably next to Dinwiddie, because again, I think his potential is really high, and you have to see if he can realize it.